Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to do something I've never done before, but I think I might want to make it a routine thing. I want to show you an entire garden tour. It's January 25th. I want to do it maybe monthly. I'll start here on the lanai and then we'll go through 2 raised beds and some various planters around the yard. Let's get into it. Here in a shady spot on my lanai, I've got mint growing. It's been doing much better since I added that watering stake with the wine bottle in it. Let me walk you through this long 21-foot long bed. A lot of progress has been made this month. This is my Brussels sprout plant. I planted it on October 1st. So it's been almost November 1st, 2nd, November, December, January, almost 4 months. And it is slow, but it looks like my Brussels are growing. So I'm pretty happy with the progress. Just maybe wasn't expecting it to be so slow. And I've got several square feet of onions. Right here are yellow onions that seem to be getting some size to them. But I planted those from seed back in October also. So they're gonna need at least another month, I think. Right here I've got beautiful spinach. I was just trying to see if spinach would grow well in my area. So I only planted these 2, so it's very little spinach to actually do something with. I've just been adding it to my store-bought spinach and eating it that way. I've got a small half square foot next to my irrigation valve, and I planted 3 red onions here. Same story, planted in October. There's more onions back there. Same progress, and yellow onions here. This is my cabbage plant. I just harvested it like last week and I made a video about that. And so I'm trying to see if it'll regrow another head. So I'm leaving it in for now. This is bok choy that's maybe a month old. Bok choy, I swear, is the prettiest green you can plant. I love it. Back there is some arugula. I just harvested a lot of it this morning by cutting the longer pieces, the more mature pieces off the sides. Arugula seems to be doing really well this season for me. This is broccoli. I just harvested that also. I'll put a link to the video down below. And I harvested the head like a week ago, and then the side shoots this morning. We'll see what it does after that. Maybe it'll grow some more, not sure. Here's chives. I have yet to harvest them, but I will soon. Back there I've got, in these 2 squares right here were green onions planted from store-bought cuttings. And I just cut them all down today, so they'll grow back pretty soon. Here's basil. I gotta admit, my basil doesn't seem to be doing very well right now. I did harvest it, but some of the leaves had, black spots and stuff, so I didn't even keep them, a lot of them. This radish square right here I'm excited about because I'm in the process of making a video on that, and it's basically using all of the tips that this other YouTuber talked about, and I'm doing all of them and trying to see if I can consistently grow a nice red bulb radish. And so far it looks like it's going really well. You can see some of the shoulders popping up, like that looks good, just needs more time. There's a little root developing there. Same thing back there. A lot of them actually look really good. They just need more time. They're not quite ready yet. Right here I planted some more carrots this week after I harvested some. So you can see the new sprouts showing up. Over here, these are old carrots that are not, their shoulders are not big enough to, I know they're not ready for harvest. So we're just waiting on those. It looks like I dropped a tomato. Oops. I've got 1 tomato plant here and 1 tomato plant here. They're both in cages. And you can see this is a determinate tomato plant. So all the tomatoes should be ripening and everything at the same time. And then the plant will die when it's done doing that. And it was getting so unruly. It was covering like some of the other square feet. So I had to add an additional stake for support. And I did a lot of pruning today to get rid of some just excess leaves so that I could help that airflow in the plant. Back there we've got another square of chives. It's It probably needs a minute to recover. The tomato plant was basically laying on it earlier today, and I fixed it. Back here, these are probably the next carrots I'll harvest. They still don't look quite big enough. You can see a little bit of a shoulder coming up, but not too much. I'm gonna wait on those because I wanna see how big I can get the carrots. This is another square of green onions that I had you can see I just cut them down this morning. This is another radish square that I just harvested. And I'm gonna probably go back in and plant some radish seeds today. Here's another basil. It just seems like it's not doing well. Once I get my new seeds from Botanical Interests, I'll probably plant another one. Right here is eggplant. So I planted this from seed on October 1st, and it's just been going so slow. I think it took a long time to get cold enough for this crop. And now that it's cold enough, it seems to be growing a little faster, but it's still like so slow. I mean, it's already been like 3.5 months, and I don't even see enough height to even start producing an eggplant. So I'm gonna keep it in there. It looks healthy. I'll keep it in there and see what happens, see how long it takes. There's more bok choy back there. Again, I just love that plant. It's so pretty and it just looks so healthy. Something's eating it. I need to probably figure out what's going on there. I will say it's a little bit hard for me to access that back there. This is my shishito pepper plant, another one that's taking forever. I planted this from seed October 1st, but shishito peppers are so good. I'm gonna leave it in there and maybe it'll be something that I can keep for years. A lot of people can overwinter their pepper plants and keep them for years. So I'm hoping I can do that. Here's another carrot square. They're a little more mature than the sprouts I just planted, but not quite, obviously months away from harvesting. Here's my oregano. Oregano seems to be doing so well this season. Borage, my borage flower. These plants, I did not anticipate needing to support them, honestly. But look at how long that stem is. This is huge. I had to trim it down because it was putting just far too much shade on the rest of my plants, and it was taking up so much of the ground. It was putting so much shade all over all the other plants. So I trimmed it down. I kept all the portions that had flowers so that I could keep the pollinators happy. And you can see some of these pods right here, like that blackness in there. That's actually I could harvest that seed. Oh, and I just dropped it. So maybe another borage will grow there. We'll see. There's cilantro back there. It goes in phases. I feel like it's not liking all the excess rain we've had. It's getting like yellowy and it's trying to bolt actually. You can see how everything's like grown together like that. It looks like it's about to bolt. I might let it bolt and see if it'll just drop the seeds and grow more cilantro. Right here is 4 square feet in my garden that I dedicated to a butternut squash plant. And I guess I realized halfway through the season that since I was trellising my plant, I actually have a lot more ground space than I thought I would. This is me just trying to make better use of the garden space. Right back here, I planted a kale. Those are daikon radishes that are coming up. Right here is a whole row of carrots. I'm gonna have to thin them out after they grow a little bit more. And right here's another kale. Kale was really fun for me to grow last year, so I wanted to get some in the ground. Back there is turnips. They're doing so great. I love turnips. My husband and I both love turnips. The greens are so good, and so are the root veggies if you roast them in the oven with a little EVOO and salt and pepper. Right here, after I had such a good experience growing cabbage in the other square earlier, I wanted to go ahead and plant another cabbage. So this will be cabbage. Here's some nasturtium. I don't have any blooms on this one yet. I think this is just a weed. I thought maybe it was oregano, but no, I think it's just a weed. Here's some thyme. Over here is my acorn squash. The plant was really not doing well, and so I cut it down, and it's really just been going again. It looks like I'm not sure if that got pollinated or not, but maybe that'll grow into a big acorn squash. We'll see. Honestly, I've been having a lot of trouble growing squash. I just think that I always get powdery mildew. The leaves always turn brown and yellow, and I have not mastered how to grow squash. The best one, I've got two that look pretty good. One of them is the butternut squash. I've actually got a fruit that's growing. I've actually got a squash that's growing, so I'm excited about that. But the plant itself really just looks like it's, it's doing okay, but it's not doing that great. And then my zucchini is actually doing really well. I'll get there shortly. So just like I was saying on the butternut squash square, I wanted to make better use of this space where I have acorn squash, and I planted a kale right here and also some, I think it's daikon radish. I'm not really sure I remember what I planted. Maybe it's regular radish. I don't know. There's some beets here. Some of the, I need to go ahead and do some more because it looks like I had more of these and then something happened. I don't know if rain washed it out or what, but they're gone. These are parsnips. A lot of times, parsnips are actually not really recommended for a Florida garden. It just gets too warm for them, but I chose to grow them anyway, and they seem to be doing pretty well. I'm not sure about what's happening under the surface, but I probably am going to be able to harvest that in the next month and see if I want to grow it again. Back here is celery. I did not have any idea how long celery would take to grow. Look at these. They're only that big and they look healthy, but these are 3.5 months old from seed. It's taking forever. Back there, cabbage again. I love cabbage. I wanted to have more cabbage to make sauerkraut or kimchi or stewed cabbage. And here is my zucchini plant. I think in general, if I look at it, I think it looks great. But then you come closer and you can see powdery mildew. I trimmed off some leaves that had excessive amounts of powdery mildew on it earlier today. So I've read about how to treat powdery mildew and I've tried those methods and it just seems like it keeps coming back. So personally, I think that some of the things you can spray on squash leaves, they just make it, I don't know that they help that much because the squash leaves are so sensitive to things that you spray on them. So, and I'm talking about like neem oil, spinosad, all the organic sprays, but it's still a spray. And the squash does not seem to like it. So I think this time I'm just going to trim the leaves and move on. Maybe that'll work better. We'll see. There's another borage with a bee flying around it. Fun fact, I'm terrified of bees, but I'm a gardener. Here's oregano doing well. Another cabbage. This is cabbage. These are more turnips back there. Love turnips. Kale. Another kale. I had a spaghetti squash growing right here, but I cut it off this morning because I think I give up on that for the season. There wasn't even like a female flower to pollinate or anything. It was just leaves, and the leaves themselves looked so bad. So I just cut it down, figured I'll make use of the space with something else and try again next season. Now outside the raised bed, I have these 3 hanging wall troughs where I have strawberry plants. They're doing pretty well, actually. You can look at the flowers popping up, and some of them are starting to form into strawberries. We haven't gotten to the point where they ripen and get red. Should be about a month out from some strawberries, so that's exciting. Here is my garlic. I planted it from store-bought cloves. back in October. I don't expect to harvest this until June. It looks fine. This looks way bigger and better than this one. So we'll see what it looks like when it's harvest time. Now let's walk to the other side of my yard and I'll show you my it's 3.5 by 6.5 foot raised bed that is full of another variety of plants. Let's check it out. I'm really loving the way that this raised bed looks right now. It's got a big variety of plants, and I just think it's cool. Things are coming along well. Back there we've got nasturtium, and I finally have some nasturtium blooms. Outside the bed I have a small planter right here with rosemary and nasturtium, more nasturtium flowers. My rosemary really loves this spot. It's a full sun spot in my yard, and this is the one that this rosemary plant in particular seems so happy. Here's dill. I harvested a bunch of that dill today. Marigolds, I finally got blooms this month. I planted those in October and finally got blooms here in January. This is parsley. There's more oregano and parsley. And here's my kohlrabi. This is purple Vienna kohlrabi. And you can see the ball is beginning to form on this one. That's probably the most mature out of all four. Right here are 4 daikon radishes. This one was planted earlier than the other ones, so it's bigger. These ones were planted right after I harvested right after I harvested a round of daikon radishes. Here's borage. Isn't it so pretty when it starts to come up? I think it's so cool looking. And here's chives, thyme. These are shallots. I'm excited about shallots. Back there was supposed to be a square of spinach, and it just never took off. You can see like a little teeny tiny baby one. So I wonder if it just got too much water. I've been watering this bed a little more than the other bed. Back there is chives, parsley. Here's mustard greens. It's weird how I have like 16 in this square foot, or maybe it's 9. But this one is just so much bigger than all the other ones. But they look healthy. I'm excited. I think in the next month I'm going to be able to harvest that and eat that. This is cauliflower. Really slow. But it's probably, I think I planted it in November. It still looks healthy and pretty though. Here's some zinnia. Zinnia flowers just don't seem to do very well. They just keep dying. Basil, I had 4, but something happened to the 4th one. I don't know. Let's see. You can see where I've harvested it. You can see where I've harvested it before. Right there, and then it split off and made 2 new growth points. There's more shallots. Back there is collards. That should get really big if you know what collards look like at the grocery store. That is nowhere near big enough, but it's a good start. Back there is zinnia and nasturtium and more dill that I harvested earlier today. Oregano. Bok choy that's a little more mature. See, look at how pretty it is. But something's eating it. I gotta figure out how to stop it. Here's another rosemary. Rosemary in a raised bed is beautiful. If it were up to me, I'd have rosemary all over my yard. Cilantro, oregano. And now, outside of this bed, let's turn right here and check out my peppers. These are, honestly, I don't feel very attached to this plant because I just got the seeds from a friend of mine. She just randomly gave me some seeds that she had saved out of her garden, and I guess I'm just waiting for them to get a little bigger, like a regular bell pepper. But I don't eat bell pepper that much. I would rather have like shishito or serrano or something like that. I did interplant cilantro, and this is another pepper plant, the same variation. Look over here at my baby Dutch yellow potatoes from store-bought potatoes. I just cut them up after they started showing sprouts, and they're looking really good. I probably need to go in and mulch, but I just keep seeing new sprouts come up, and I don't want to like cover up the new sprouts with mulch. I'm using watering olives on these, and it's working really well. They look beautiful. I'm excited. These small raised beds right here, I plan to do a variety of experiments with them. Like one of them I'm going to put insect netting on. One of them I might use spinosad and neem oil to control the pests, and BT. So the reason I haven't filled them up with soil yet is because my local nursery is totally out of soil. But it's so much cheaper to buy it in bulk from the nursery than it is to buy bags of soil. So I'm just waiting. As soon as I check the website every day, as soon as it's in stock, I'm going to go get it and fill these up and plant those seeds. So it's something to look forward to in February. That's it for my garden tour. I hope you guys liked it. Stay tuned, hit that subscribe button, and follow along and see how I can make this better and bigger every month from here on out. See you next time.